Alright, it is Roger with igadgetgeek, and I have my full review of the AT&T Samsung Galaxy S3. It is a 4G LTE device with a 4.8-inch HD Super AMOLED display. It has a dual-core 1.5 GHz processor with 2 gigs of RAM. It has NFC, a 8-megapixel rear camera, as well as a forward-facing camera. It also runs Android 4.0.4 with 16 gigs of internal storage and a micro SD card slot. So let's go ahead and dive on into this full review. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. We have the lock screen, and there are different options to this lock screen. As it is configured right now, you have these quick shortcuts along the bottom, and to access any one of these apps, you just touch on them and swipe up, and it will take you directly into that application. Now to adjust that, you'll want to go into your settings, into security, and then you have your lock screen options. So you want to click on that, and it'll give you some different options, whether or not you want the shortcuts, your information ticker, your camera access, all these different options of different things you can actually configure in that lock screen, as well as you can have one wallpaper for your main home screen and a separate wallpaper on your lock screen. So you can actually have two different wallpapers, and you actually have a really neat little touch effect on this lock screen. It gives you the water ripples, and you can swipe in any direction to unlock. So let's go ahead and dive on into the actual software. If you go to About Device, as you can see, it is Android version 4.0.4, and there is a nice little Easter egg here. If you touch on this version a couple of times, it'll present you with the little ice cream guy for ice cream sandwich. Now we'll go ahead and go right up in here to storage. As you can see, it does have, right out of the box, I have installed a couple of apps, but you can see total space 12.05 gigabytes. Now I do not have an SD card installed in this particular unit, but just to kind of let everybody know, this video review is being shot on a Samsung Galaxy S3. Alright, so let's go ahead and dive on in and look at the actual TouchWiz software. As you can see, here is the weather and time widget. You want to touch on that, and it will actually go in, give you the city that you're in, and then it will give you your forecast with an extended forecast at the bottom. Let's go back to home. Now these are, you got a lot of different pre-installed options as far as applications and everything. Of course, you have some of your AT&T stuff, and then with the S3 you also have the S Memo, the S Suggest, and the S Voice. And the S Voice is kind of a voice assistant that allows you to talk to the phone and ask it different questions, so that could come in really handy for you. Now of course the S Memo, if you've seen the review or my review on the actual Galaxy Note, this is very similar to the S Memo on the Galaxy Note. It allows you to draw and write out different memos in text or with a stylus or your finger, and there is a stylus that you can purchase for the Galaxy S3. Now of course you do have a really nice calendar app there again, very similar to the calendar app that we have seen on the Galaxy Note. It gives you a lot of really good options, really good calendar app. I've really enjoyed using that. And of course several other different applications that are pre-installed. There's more here than I can actually list, but all in all it is a great phone with the dual-core processor and the 2 gigs of RAM. It is extremely fast, very smooth. I have not noticed any lag whatsoever in using it. And of course you have your screens that'll do the full loop around. And I have used this now for several days, and I have not noticed any lag whatsoever in my personal experience with it. Now of course you do have a drop down menu that gives you a lot of quick buttons here to turn your Wi-Fi, your Bluetooth, your GPS, your sound, screen rotation, your mobile data, power savings, airplane mode, and sync is all right there on the drop down menu. Of course you have a really nice large keypad, very easy to access and dial the numbers. Now of course if we're going to be talking about the new Galaxy S3, one of the things we need to talk about is the actual camera application. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. Now, one thing that this camera application does do very well is it will take multiple pictures extremely fast. So as you can see, every click there was a photo. Pretty much as fast as you can touch that button, it will snap a photo. And we'll come right in here to our gallery. You can see all those photos. It does a wonderful job of taking photos very fast. Now, I will have some sample photos on my website that I took outside with this camera application. And we'll go ahead right in here too. You have your video camera, and you can go into settings, and you can actually choose the resolution. Now, it will shoot video all the way up to 1080p, but if you would like, you can actually pick a lower resolution, whether it be 720, 480, so on and so forth. So it gives you, a nice option to be able to choose the different resolution. Alright, to add widgets to this, you want to go in here to your app drawer. You can touch on the widgets here at the top, and it will actually show you all the widgets you have pre-installed here on your S3. And pick any widget and put on any home screen you just want to touch and hold, and then you want to flip over to wherever you want it, pick your images and all that. So it's real easy to install widgets. You actually just scroll through here to any one you would like, touch it, and then you're able to scroll left or right and pick what home screen you would actually like that widget to be placed on. To delete a widget, you want to press and hold and take it down to the trash can. Alright, so just to wrap it up, I've had several different Android phones that I have used and reviewed, and this is probably, in my opinion, probably one of the more smooth running Android phones that I have reviewed. I think that's due to the large amount of RAM and of course the operating system being the 4.0.4 ice cream sandwich. They've fixed a lot of those little bugs inherent in the software and just come out with a very nice clean running operating system. As you can see here, if you touch and hold the home button, it will bring up this actual shortcut here, and it shows you all your previous apps that you've been into. Now you can remove all of those. Press and hold again, it is empty. It has a quick shortcut directly to your task manager. So as you can see, even while using this, I'm sitting here right around 600 megs of RAM being used. So I still have over a gig of RAM free. Now if you want to clear that, you can clear out your RAM with no problems, and it will drop down to just over 300 megabytes. Now of course, as you use it, different applications and stuff, it will continue to eat up more RAM and everything, but it still seems to be a very efficient version of Android. I have noticed in using this, even with multiple applications being used, my RAM usage has stayed around 1 gig or just a little bit over. All in all, I've been very impressed with this Galaxy S3, so much so that I've actually went out and purchased one for myself. This has been my full review of the AT&T Samsung Galaxy S3, and this is Roger with iGadgetGeek.